Dang, you guys, former President Donald Trump just keeps getting better and better. In his recent rally in North Carolina, the former president bravely stepped outside of his bulletproof glass barrier, even after the past assassination attempt on him in Pennsylvania, just to help and hug a woman who needed medical attention. Unbelievable. Check this out. I mean, seriously, guys, former President Donald Trump has this way of showing his humanity, and that's why the American people love him. Compare that to Vice President Kamala Harris, who Donald Trump says is all talk and no action.
Joining us now by phone, the 45th President of the United States, former President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you for joining us. You were truth socialing along this speech. What is your first reaction to it real time tonight?
Well, the biggest reaction is, why didn't she do the things that she's complaining about? All of these things that she talked about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything, but she didn't do any of it. She could have done it 3.5 years ago. She could do it tonight by leaving the auditorium and going to Washington, D.C. and closing the border. She doesn't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border and created the safest border we've ever had in the history of our country. She could have done all of these things, and she could still do them. She's got 4.5, 5 months left. She can go there right now. She can do all of the things, many of the things that she's talking about and complaining about. It was a lot of complaining. She didn't talk about China. She didn't talk about fracking. She didn't talk about crime. She didn't talk about 70% of our people are living in poverty. She didn't talk about housing, really. The trade deficit. She didn't talk about child trafficking that she's allowed to happen because she was the border czar and she presided over the weakest border in the history of our country. It's an invasion. I was there today, as you know, Brett. It's an invasion of our country taking place at our border, our southern border. It's a total invasion. And now it's starting at our northern border also, through Canada. And she didn't talk about any of that because she talks, but she doesn't do. It's no action.
I mean, seriously, guys, can't you just feel how they're just so jealous of former President Trump? No matter what, Donald Trump is real. He's not a hypocrite. You want more proof? Well, former Democrat turned independent candidate RFK Jr. just endorsed Donald Trump over Kamala. They even appeared together on stage in Donald Trump's recent Arizona rally.
His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby. You want to know the truth?
I mean, you could just see on RFK Jr.'s face how he felt like he made the right decision. And it's moments like this and stepping out of bulletproof encasements in North Carolina that really make Donald Trump all that much more human and more accessible to the people. You know what I mean? It's only literally just been a few weeks since former President Donald Trump survived that assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. That's why in his first outdoor rally since the incident, a ballistics glass panel was placed in front of Donald Trump's podium in Asheboro, North Carolina, and 3 more flanked his back and sides as part of enhanced security measures for the former president. But that didn't even stop him from responding when supporters in the crowd called out for medics. After asking them what's wrong, Donald Trump called for a doctor as it was very hot in the rally. As medical personnel helped the white-haired woman from down the stands, who apparently collapsed, Donald Trump left the bulletproof perimeter to give her a hug. And as you guys saw from the video, Secret Service agents, they were trying to make up for their epic failure in Pennsylvania. And you see them just kind of surrounding the former president as he ventured out from behind the safety of the glass and toward the crowd. So after the woman was given medical attention and some Trump love, our former president returned back to the podium and explained how his rally goers come 2-3 days, sometimes even 4 days early. And it's a lot. It's a lot of stress. And this is probably why he still chooses to risk his life to go out and meet the people wherever they happen to be. Apparently, the Secret Service had reportedly encouraged Donald Trump to no longer hold outdoor events in the wake of the assassination attempt. But they just don't get it. Open air rallies, which are able to accommodate a large number of supporters, have become a signature of all three Donald Trump's presidential campaigns. Hit the like button if you guys want to show your support for more wholesome content like this of former President Donald Trump. Also, while you guys are at it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for the channel, tap that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on future videos and contents and updates. And I promise guys, they're going to be coming fast as we get closer and closer to the most important presidential election of our lives. And we're going to be right here every step of the way, guys. All right, so let's get on with this one, all right? All right, so let's get into that RFK Jr. debate in Donald Trump's rally in Arizona, okay? Very exciting stuff, as former President Donald Trump even promised to release the RFK assassination documents as part of the deal. So we'll finally get to know what really happened to John F. Kennedy. Donald Trump described the inheritor of the Kennedy political dynasty as an incredible champion for American values and a highly respected and a great person before bringing him out as a surprise guest at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Now, according to Donald Trump, Bobby's candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been just too long ignored in the country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. Based on his heritage, Bobby Kennedy, he knows a thing or two about assassination attempts. Perhaps that's part of the reason why he's reached out to former President Donald Trump in the first place. Kennedy said that when he first got to talking with Donald Trump after the assassination attempt in Butler, PA, on July 13th, they discussed not the things that separate them because they don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that they do share. Like RFK Jr. said on stage, do you want healthy children? Do you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption? And that's what President Donald Trump told him that he wanted. He then posed a question to the enthusiastic crowd. Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again? Kennedy also talked about Donald Trump's commitments to keep the United States out of foreign wars, end censorship, and protect America's freedoms from totalitarianism. And according to Trump, Bobby and he will fight together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return the control of this country to the people. And all who supported Bobby's campaign, Trump very simply asks for you to join him in building this coalition. They're obviously alluding to Democrats in this part here. Kennedy had earlier stepped down from the 2024 race and slammed the Democratic Party for what he called a sham primary that favored Vice President Kamala Harris without an election. Trump took a swipe at the Harris-Biden administration for denying Kennedy, who lost his father and his uncle to assassinations and had faced numerous threats himself, Secret Service protection until after the Butler, PA rally shooting. Now, as a tribute to RFK, Trump announced his plan, if elected, to establish a commission on assassination attempts that would release all federal records related to JFK's murder. Already, Arizona State Senator Anthony Kern said that he expects Kennedy's endorsement to bring a big boost to the Trump campaign. He even predicted that they're going to win this thing, as that 5 to 8%, it's going to really help Trump. It was quite a moment to witness when a member of the Kennedy family, practically Democratic royalty, decided to endorse a Republican candidate. That was a huge move, guys. I don't know how many people realize that, especially since it seemed like he was choosing principles over loyalty. Kennedy's move really stirred things up, challenging what he saw as a rigged candidate system created by the Democratic National Committee. Needless to say, guys, this bold endorsement basically just kind of overshadowed nearly a week's worth of speeches at the Democratic convention. And I honestly think that it's because his call for truth, accountability in the democratic system really resonated with a lot of people who feel stuck in the middle, people who feel alienated by politics of both the left and the right, folks who no longer believe that people in positions of power care about their concerns at all. Because if you remember, guys, originally Kennedy himself wanted the Democratic nomination, but he hit wall after wall, especially from the DNC and President Joe Biden's camp. They wouldn't even allow debates or a real full contest for the nomination. And despite Biden showing signs of decline, a shell of the man that he once had been, as some had put it. The DNC shielded him and labeled any criticisms or concerns as misleading, which only added to the frustration of the people who can actually see it with their own eyes. Now, that was some serious gaslighting, guys, and their left-wing media allies were right there with them. Just 2 months ago, networks like CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they were quick to dismiss pretty much anyone who dared to even mention that Biden wasn't completely sharp behind closed doors. Senator Kennedy recently called out this speech when he threw his support behind Donald Trump, pointing out what he sees as the key issue that we're facing today. He made a strong point about the dangers of censorship. He said that when a U.S. president colludes with or outright coerces media companies or censor political speech, it is an attack on our sacred right of free expression. RFK Jr. also highlights during his 16-month campaign, big networks like ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, and CNN only gave him 2 live interviews. He criticized the mainstream media from straying from its role as the guardian of the First Amendment and democratic principles, and now joining the systemic attack on democracy. Adding to that, he pointed out that CNN, after ignoring him for so long, suddenly had a Kennedy family member on prime time to criticize him right after he endorsed Donald Trump. Now, it's pretty clear that the network that wouldn't show Kennedy himself was all too happy to give airtime to members of his family who would trash him. All this, I think, is going to be seen as a pivotal moment in the 2024 campaign, guys. The Democrats have shifted so much that even a Kennedy can't support them any longer. I mean, just think about it, guys. It's pretty surprising. Harris, who hasn't received a single presidential vote, is now the nominee. Yep, the same Harris who left the 2020 race before anyone even voted. Now, a lot of people feel that if Biden had stepped aside earlier, and let's just say the spring of 2023, it would have allowed for a genuine Democratic primary. But honestly, it seems like the Democrats have a thing for picking rather than electing their candidates. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the pattern. Hillary Clinton in 2016, Biden in 2020, and now Harris in 2024. They all seem to be handpicked by the people running the DNC. Will of the voters be damned? I mean, sure, they claim Trump is a threat to democracy, but it's them who have gone and charged him with felonies in multiple states, aiming to put him behind bars. Not to mention they sidelined the president who actually got the Democratic nomination. Yeah, I see you, Biden. Then they blocked every third-party challenger from RFK Jr. to the Green and Libertarian parties, and have even kept Harris out of the media spotlight, refusing all interviews, requests, and all press conference availabilities. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this just doesn't feel like this is how it should work. This is not how you choose candidates. Kennedy saw all of this too. He couldn't just sit back, which is why he spoke up and threw his support behind the only candidate who actually won a primary. Somebody who really supports free speech and believes in sharing his vision for the world, even if it meant turning away from the party that once put his family on a pedestal. Kennedy felt like he only had one choice. And so now Trump and Kennedy are teaming up. We've seen where they stand on the issues through numerous interviews and public events. But Harris, we're still waiting on her policy details because her team seems to want to spend more time telling us what she's against versus what she's for. But then again, maybe they're just too busy trying to drag Trump and Kennedy's names through the dirt instead of actually laying down some serious policies for the American people, you know? Now, if you want more winning moments from former President Donald Trump, then check out my other video where I show him shutting down a reporter who tried calling him a racist. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link down below. But yeah, guys, definitely check that video out right after this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. Thank you for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this video. I'll see you on the next one.